Most of us walk through life with a silent shadow following us, a shadow called fear. We wake up with it. We carry it into our jobs, our dreams, our relationships, and even our prayers. Fear, that quiet whisper that says, "You're not ready. You're not enough. You can't do it." And you start believing it, feeding it, living with it. You start adjusting your potential to match your fear instead of your faith. Fear is not loud. Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in moments of silence. Sometimes it hides behind logic, behind caution, behind maybe later. Fear is one of the most subtle and destructive diseases of the human spirit. It kills dreams before they're even born. It kills hope before it has a chance to breathe. It keeps people living small when they were created for greatness. I've seen fear destroy more potential than failure ever did. Failure can be a teacher. Fear is a prison guard. It keeps you locked behind invisible bars made of doubt. Fear convinces you to settle for less, to stay quiet, to never take the shot. And I ask you today, what's the benefit? What's the benefit of living scared? What's the gain in holding yourself back? You say you want to live free. You say you want to chase your dream. But how can you chase something when your legs are chained by fear? You say you want success, peace, purpose, but how can you reach for it when fear convinces you to keep your hands in your pockets? I had to ask myself that same question. What is the benefit of fear? What's the plus side of doubting myself? What do I gain from believing I'm not enough? And when I looked at the answers, I found nothing. Fear gives you nothing but regret. Fear gives you nothing but sleepless nights and silent frustration. You see, I used to live my life afraid of making mistakes. I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to succeed the first time, every time. I thought if I made one wrong move, it would all fall apart. But life doesn't work like that. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall. You're going to hurt some feelings. You're going to fail, sometimes publicly. But that's not the end of your story. That's the start of it. Because every person who ever rose to greatness stood on a pile of their own failures. They just refused to stay down. Fear tells you failure is fatal. Faith tells you failure is feedback. Fear says, what if you fall? Faith says, what if you fly? When you start taking life on, when you decide you're not going to stay in the shadows anymore, when you step into your purpose, you're going to face resistance. People will misunderstand you. Some will envy you. Some will doubt you. But that's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're moving. You've got to ask yourself, how long will I let fear hold me back? How long will I let doubt be the driver of my destiny? How long will I sit on the sidelines of my own life, watching others play the game I was born to win? Think about it. Haven't you ever been afraid to do something? And then once you finally did it, you said to yourself, wow, that wasn't so bad. Why did I wait so long? That's because fear is a liar. It creates monsters in your mind that don't exist. It paints pictures of failure before the first step is even taken. Fear is false evidence appearing real. You create it, you feed it, you wear it, and then it controls you. But when you face it, when you walk straight through it, you realize it was smoke all along. Fear is not real, but your faith is. Fear is a prison, but faith is the key. Winston Churchill once said, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself." And he was right, because fear is the only thing that can truly stop you. It's not the world outside that limits you. It's the world inside. When you let fear live in your mind, it begins to control your thoughts. It tells you to count your weaknesses instead of your blessings. It tells you to look at what you lack instead of what you have. It tells you to measure the mountain instead of remembering the strength in your legs. But faith is different. Faith doesn't count, it trusts. Faith doesn't measure, it moves. Faith doesn't wait for proof, as it believes. When you have fear, you start counting, how many chances do I really have? How many people believe in me? How much money is in my account? How long will this take? That's fear, always calculating, always doubting, always waiting for the perfect moment. But when you have faith, you stop counting, and you start trusting. You stop worrying about who's with you, and you start believing in what's within you. You stop asking for signs, and you start being the sign. Faith says, even if I can't see it, I still believe it. Faith says, even if I have nothing left, I still have hope. Faith says, even if the odds are against me, I will rise. You don't need to count the armies. You don't need to see the horses. You don't need to count the shields. You don't need to check who's standing beside you. Because when you walk in faith, the impossible becomes possible. Fear is the voice that says you can't. Faith is the whisper that says watch me. And I made a decision, a permanent decision, that I will no longer walk in fear. I will walk in faith. I will believe in what I cannot see. I will trust in what I feel deep inside, because I've come too far to turn back now. I've survived too much to quit now. Fear, you don't own me anymore. You had your chance. You held me long enough. Now it's my time to walk free. But here's the truth. You can't just decide once. You've got to fight fear every day. You've got to starve it by feeding your faith. How? Turn off the noise. Turn off the news that tells you everything is falling apart. Turn off the conversations that drain your energy and fill your mind with doubt. Turn off the people who tell you you can't, because fear grows from what you feed it. If you feed it with negativity, it will consume you. If you feed it with faith, it will die of hunger. You've got to recondition your mind. You've got to retrain your thinking. You've got to surround yourself with voices that lift you, not limit you. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. So what are you listening to? What are you feeding your soul every day? Start attending workshops. Read powerful books. Listen to motivational talks. Surround yourself with people who believe in possibility. Feed your faith daily, just like you feed your body, because what goes in your mind shapes what comes out in your life. Most people won't do this. Most people won't put in the effort. Most people will let that little voice inside convince them that they don't have time, that they're too busy, too tired, too caught up in the rat race. But the truth is, that's just fear talking again. And fear is clever. Fear disguises itself as logic. It'll tell you, be practical. It'll say, now's not the right time. It'll say, you're not ready yet. But when are you ever really ready? The only way to be ready is to begin. You can't think your way into confidence. You can't wait your way into courage. You have to step. You have to act. You have to move. Faith is motion. Fear is paralysis. Faith builds. Fear breaks. Faith expands. Fear restricts. And every day you have a choice. Will I walk in fear or will I walk in faith?